Hey guys, it's Justine here from I Should Read That, and today I'm going to bring you a spoiler-free review of Gumiho, or The Wicked Fox by Kat Cho. It's one of those books that had a title change between the US and the UK, and this comes out from Penguin in the month of June, on the 25th of June, and I was looking forward to reading this. I was expecting to like it. I'd heard a lot of hype about it, and I try to not get too excited about books that are really hyped because they don't often work out for me. However, I ended up loving this book so much. So I wanted to go ahead and review it for you so I could share my thoughts. Just to get the disclaimers out of the way, first and foremost, I was sent a copy of this book from the publisher for review. This does not influence my opinion on the book whatsoever, and this is also, as I said, a spoiler-free review. Also, before I get started, I looked up the pronunciations of all of these names, and I'm hoping that I'm getting them right. I'm gonna sound like a complete dickhead if I'm not, so I apologize in advance if I'm getting any of this wrong, but I did put in the research and I am trying. This book takes place in modern-day Seoul in Korea, and we follow a girl named Myung, and she is a Gumiho of sort of Korean legend. She's a nine-tailed fox that lives on the life energy of men. So she is half human, and she's really wrestling with her human side, and rather than devouring the livers of these evil men like her mother does, who is a full-blooded Gumiho, she instead sort of siphons off their energy. And her life kind of takes a big turn when one day she makes a split-second decision to save a human boy's life, and that boy is Jihoon, and they sort of start a friendship together, but it turns into a bit of a romance. That's not a spoiler, and things of course get incredibly complicated from there. The first thing that I really loved about this book is the setting. It's really nice to see a book, especially a YA book that's not set in, America or Britain, that's set somewhere else, especially when it is a contemporary setting, because maybe it's just what I read, but I feel like we don't see that very often, and I thought that was really great. It's also one of those settings where I feel like I can't picture this book taking place anywhere else. I've read a couple of books recently where they've been in a specific place in a real city, and they felt like they could really be anywhere. They don't really have the flavor of that city or that place. That is not the case here. You definitely get a lot of the kind of sights and sounds and smells and the food and the culture of Seoul, and it's really wonderful to see. I really love the way that she managed to weave sort of myth and folklore in with a modern setting, because I think that's really hard to do in a way that's really effective. I am very iffy on fantasy books that are in a modern setting because sometimes I feel like we lose some of the magic, and that was absolutely not the case here. I really enjoyed this so much. I'm not someone who watches Korean dramas for no reason other than I just have never watched a Korean drama, but I have heard that if you enjoy those, you're really going to enjoy this book, because not only are there a lot of, I think, references in the book, but also it very much has that kind of soap opera-y structure. So the main focus of this book is definitely the romance over the fantasy elements, I'd say, and I think that this is a great model for how to write a YA romance really well, because I feel like the temptation is to really sort of throw the characters in, to throw the readers in. That's why we get things like insta-love and all of that. And for me, this felt incredibly realistic, because there is an attraction first on Jihoon's part, less so than Myung's part, and for obvious reasons, she is a creature that is meant to be very beautiful in order to lure men to their demise. And so that totally made sense to me, and I really enjoyed that, and I loved the fact that she is fighting with her kind of demonic side, and her human side really made their relationship interesting. And I feel like it added so many elements that I feel like are kind of missing from a lot of the YA romances that I read. And this is nothing against YA romance, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you probably know that I'm like, I love this YA book, except for the romance, because I didn't believe it. And I think part of that is because the girls are always amazing and super kick-ass and awesome, and I feel like the boys are almost like an afterthought in terms of like character building and everything, but I feel like these two suited each other really well, and they suited each other perfectly, and the push and pull between them was really fantastic. I love the fact that this wasn't necessarily a fast burn romance. I wouldn't call it the slowest of romances, but it does take her a while to kind of come around and to come around to making friends and sort of being integrated into the school that she's in. I love the learning what it means to be human trope, if that's even a trope, but it's one of my favorite kind of character arcs that we get to see, and it is done so well in this book. I thought that Mi-young's kind of arc and the way that she works through her feelings and she has that division in her between being human and being a demon was just fantastically done. I really loved that, and I loved the fact that Ji-hoon understands that, and I love that he was very aware of the incredibly dangerous situation, the fact that this girl could kill him at any second, the fact that this girl doesn't need saving, the fact that this girl can stand up for herself. He gets it, and I loved that. I thought he was wonderful. I feel like Ji-hoon was the perfect combination of sweet beta romance hero and also super snarky and sharp romance hero. Just the banter and the things that he says and the way that he interacts with other people was totally charming, and I loved that. I'm often not charmed by the heroes in YA books. I'm very like grumpy old woman in that sense, but I thought he was wonderful. I really loved him. I loved her, and I could see them together, which was a big deal for me. I love the twists and turns of this book. I thought it was super fun. I love the way that it resolved, and I love the fact that it seems like we're gonna get another book. I thought that the characters are wonderful. I thought that the world was wonderful and really interesting, and this was an incredibly fun and well done debut. I gave this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this, in case you can't tell. I flew through it really quickly, and I would so highly recommend picking up a copy if you enjoy YA fantasy and kind of the fantasy meets modern settings, if you like Korean dramas or Korean culture in general, or if you're looking for just a really good, fun summer read. One last thing to note, I am obviously not an Own Voices reviewer for this book, so if you are, I would love to hear what you thought of it. If you've posted a review on Goodreads or on YouTube or on your blog or wherever, send me a link. I would really love to see it. So in the comments below, I would love to hear if this book is in your TBR or if it's something that you might be interested in. If you've read it already, definitely let me know. I post bookish content to this channel fairly frequently, so go ahead and hit subscribe, check back soon, and I will see you next time.